Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a card using the foil transfer kit that Cricut has recently come out with. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to images, and then I'm just going to search for card. And here in this category there's all kinds of cards. Some are pre-made or pre-designed, some are just blank canvases here that you can use, or and some of them come with envelopes, and there's over 11,000 cards that you can make just from typing in the word card. So for this purpose for today, I'm just gonna use this one right here, and it's free to me because I'm an Access subscriber, so anything that's highlighted with the A would be free if you subscribe to Access. So then I just go in and I insert that image onto my canvas. So this is only almost 5 inches wide. I want a larger card than that. I just want kind of a standard card size. So right here I'm going to unlock, and I'm going to make this card 8.5, and then I'm going to make it about 5.5. And then I will lock it back up. That's the size of a card that I want to make today. So we have our card base, and right here you can see there's a score line already attached to it. So that's the nice thing. You could easily also go in and put your own shape in and make your own card base by choosing the shape and sizing it again to the 8.5 by 5.5. And when you do that, you would just have to go in and put your own score line in, which is just as easy. So again, here I just want this to be 8.5 by 5.5, and then lock it back up, and then I would go back into where the shapes button is. There's a score line right here, and you click on that, and you just need to extend it to be long enough to cover your card. And you would initially, what I do is just kind of eyeball it where it should go, and then I just drag a box covering the two of those, so they're both selected. Right here you can see the score line and the card are both selected, and then I go excuse me, up to a line, and I want to center horizontally, and that will put the score line exactly in the middle of my card. And they're still both selected. This is gray and that's gray. And then I go down here and I want to attach that score line. So now when I go to make it, it's going to keep the score line on this card base. So that's how you would make your own card base, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use this pre-made card base that was in Design Space already. So I have my card base here, and I think I want to make a birthday card. And we're using the foil. So what I do is I like this little window here. So what I want to do is put the piece that's going to show through to the other side. So I'm going to make a little insert by adding a square, and I'm just going to drag this square over this piece. I'm going to unlock it right here, and I'm just going to resize it just visually how big I want this insert to be. So this insert, when you open the card, this will be the piece that is on the right hand side of the card. So I want this to actually be white, so I'm going to change the color up here, click on white, and then what I want to do is I want to send this piece to the back because I want to make sure what area I need to see through the little window that's punched out there. So I'm going to go up here to arrange and send it to the back, and now I can see what size I would need to put something on that piece there. So I am going to go back into images, and this time I am going to search for cake and see what comes up there, but I'm going to be more specific, and when I go to operation type, I want a draw type file only. And that helps me because I plan on using the foil, so that helps me to eliminate, there could be a whole bunch of cake images, but I want specifically something that is going to be a draw type image. So I filtered that out, and it brings me just to these few. Makes it easier to choose. So I like this cupcake here. So I'm going to select that one, and then I'm going to insert that onto my screen here. And then I am going to go up here first of all, and I'm going to say I want to change this. It's set to draw. I'm going to use foil, and I'm going to use the fine point for this one. And it's showing gold, but I'm going to choose a purple, just because for me it's easier to see. Whatever color foil I use is up to me, but for visual purposes I'm just going to put it as purple here. I'm also going to unlock it down here, and I'm just going to resize it until I size that I think would fit in the window. See, and that's still a little bit too big, so I just bring it down a little bit until I think it fills that little window nicely, and I think that works for me. And then I'm going to click on the card base and just drag it out of the way. And what I want to make sure that I do is I need this cupcake to stay exactly in that spot. So I'm going to draw a box around the white insert piece and the cupcake. And here we have the white insert piece selected and the cupcake. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click attach. That way this cupcake will stay on this piece of white cardstock. And then one other thing that I want to do is I'm going to go over here to text. I want to write a sentiment in here. So I'm going to go to text, and I am going to type, I've already chosen my font here. When you click on the fonts, you can go over here to the filter, and I wanted to filter writing style fonts so that anything that I see I know will work as a writing style. And I really do, I tend to go to this awesome one. It's also free for Cricut Access. I just like the way it looks. So that's the one that I choose. So I have awesome, and it's a writing style font. And then I'm just going to go down here into my text box, and I'm going to type happy birthday. And then I am going to grab that and bring it up here for sizing purposes. Shrink it down till it will fit properly, giving myself a little bit of wiggle room, because this piece will have to be the tape. We have to use the tape for the foil around here. So I'm just gonna give myself some room here. And when I think it looks good, I need to get selected back onto the text box again. And if you can't grab it by clicking here because it's so, fine of a point where you have to grab it, you can always click in the layers panel and grab that as well by clicking on it. And then I am going to go here, and I'm going to say that I want this to be foil in a medium or fine point, and I also am going to make this one purple. All right, so now I have my happy birthday, I've got my cupcake. The cupcake is attached to this white piece, but the happy birthday is not. So I just have to drag the box again around, selecting the two. So I've got in the layers panel, these two are already attached. Now I want to attach this text. So I have all three of those are selected, and I just click attach. And now this piece is all set and good to go. And we can bring our card back up here and work on what we want to put on the front of this. So I'm going to go over here to images, and I'm still in the draw because I'm going to use the foil. So I only want to see draw images, and you can see just without even putting a search in, there are almost 7,000 images to choose from, and some of these are really cute. Some are very detailed and intricate. There's some great files that you can use here, and with it being it's wintertime, so I was going to choose something kind of wintry. So I'm doing a search for a Yeti. And then all these there's 11 results that come up. And I think that this guy right here looks like he wants to party. So I'm going to insert him onto my canvas, and here he is. Now he's set as a draw. I'm going to resize him a little bit. I want him to be a little bit bigger, but I also want him, I'm going to narrow him down a little bit and place him where I want him to be on the card. And then I need to go up here, and he's going to be foiled as well. So I'm going to put the fine point foil, and I'm actually going to change this to silver. And then, it's hard to see right here, which reminds me I am also going to go and change the color of my card. So if I click on my card here, it's attached to this score line, and it won't give me the option to change the color because there's multiple layers that I've selected. So I'm just going to click the card by itself right here, and then I have the option right here to change the color, and I'm just going to change it to a darker blue. And that way you can see the image a little bit better. So I'm making the Yeti to be silver, and then I also wanted to write a cute little sentiment on the front of the card. So I go back to my text, I click on that, and I'm going to type in, I'm going to type in Yeti, and I'm going to hit enter to party. And then I'm going to change my alignment of this text to center it all. And then I'll just have to resize it once I get it up here. So this little guy is Yeti to party. And right now it's to draw. That's why you'll see it's black. So I have to go back up here again, tell it I want this to be in foil. And I'll just do a fine point again. It always defaults to the gold, so I'm going to go in and choose the silver. So the front of the card will just all be silver. You could actually use 2 different colors on the front if you wanted to. But for the purpose of this card, I want it all to be the same, so I'm going to leave that the way it is. But now I need to make sure that to attach it to the card base so that it knows I want to put this drawing and this saying on this piece of cardstock. So again, I'm just going to drag a box around the whole section there. It's got the image, it has the card base, and it has the sentiment. So I select all 3 of those right here, and then I just click attach. And now this card is ready to be cut out and foiled. So we go to make it. And this is where you will choose your, make sure that everything is where you want it. So with the foil, this has to be taped down all the way around the sides. So we just make sure that it's fine, I think, like this, if I just leave it up in this corner, because the tape will go here and here, and it'll be fine there. And then, so that one, everything is attached properly. And then we go to the blue one, and this one is also attached properly. So it's going to foil this, it's going to cut this window out, it's going to score the card for me, and it is going to cut out the card. And then from here, when everything looks good to you, then you just go on to continue. And then once it connects to the machine, it will actually give you your options of what you're using for your base, which is cardstock. And then we'll cut it out and we'll go from here. So once I looked at my stash, I realized I did not have the purple foil. I thought I had gotten like a colored pack, and maybe I did, but I can't seem to find it. So I'm just going to stick with the silver. So one thing that's important with this is to pay attention to where it's going to cut and where the foil begins and ends in your design. So I know that if I leave mine set like this, that it should cover everything. So the first thing, you want it shiny side up on your paper, and the foil packs come with these little tapes, and you have to tape the foil down and make sure that it's nice and taut. So I am going to start down here at the bottom, and I'm just gonna, it's kind of got some static electricity to it, so I'm going to tape that down, and then I'll go up to the top. And this tape is reusable, so just scoot this over a little bit here. So now I'll go up to the top and just pulling it, making sure that I have it nice and taut on here, but that I also have the actual foil being taped. And then we'll tape this side here, making sure that we stay on the mat, pulling it pretty taut, and we will do this side here and pulling it. So that's pretty taut, and there's a little wrinkle, that should be okay. The other thing it's asking us to do is to take the, I have the fine tip in here, and the way you can tell it's the fine is it only has one line on it. So there's this one silver line up here, and that means it's the fine point. So just, it's magnetic. I just push in the plunger and it grabs it, and then I'm going to load that in the place of my fine point blade. Put that in there, and it clamps in just like the blade does. I'm going to pull back here so you guys can see what's going on here. So there it is, loaded in where the blade would normally go. And then I'm just making sure that my paper is down on my mat well, and I am going to load this in. And then as soon as it's ready, and I just always double check, making sure that it wants the foil transfer tool in, and it does, so press go. So this next step is very important. You do not unload the mat, but this tells me that it's giving me instructions, so I had to go look at the computer to make sure I know what it's telling me, and it's telling me to take the foil off. So now I'm going to peel up the tape, and then one thing I will show you that is definitely a mistake on my part, but worked out in my favor this time, is that I did not move my star wheels over, and I probably should have done that. These white star wheels right here, well, if it's on the foil, it could leave that impression into the design, but here you can see that it did not. So for right now, I'm going to leave them, and I'll move them for the next piece of paper that I do, the next one that we do. But right now it's asking me for the fine point blade, so I'm going to remove this one here. I'm putting in my blade, so it's going to cut the rectangle. Clamp that in and hit go. All right, so that one's ready to unload. So that's the insert to my card. You just pull that off, and you can see it looks really good. It's shiny, and it's very easy to see. So I'm going to set that aside. And then our next mat is the one with the blue cardstock. So I still have to tape down. I've already figured out where my placement is based on where the design is. So I'm using 8.5 by 11, so it's going to cut long ways, and I have it aligned to where my score line is going to be right at the 5-inch mark. And then I base where I set my foil on where that score line is going to be. So because I know it needs to be, the foil needs to be on this half. So I'm going to just go ahead and tape this right where it is right now, because that's what I've decided that I need. And I'm going to start down here. So once you use the foil, the piece that is written on it cannot be reused again. But if you look at this piece that I'm using, that I just did, I still have, you know, I can cut this and still use all of this area here, all of this area in here. So I'll just trim that up and I'll be able to use that for some other designs and save it with all my scraps. So one more piece of tape here. Okay. And I need to double check, and right now it wants the scoring wheel in clamp B. So I'm going to pull back here. Right now the fine point blade is in there. It's asking for the scoring wheel. So I've got my scoring wheel here. Place that in. All right, and then I believe we're ready to load this mat. Put it in up under the feet there. And load. Now, one of the things I had said that I forgot to do, let me unload that again, because I did say I forgot to move the star wheels. So these are your star wheels. These two are okay, but this one is actually in the way of the foil, and maybe this one. So you just slide them over. Just grab it with my 2 fingers, and I just pull them until they're out of the way over here. And that shouldn't mess with anything. So now I'm going to load, and you can see they're not going to be on my card. So I'll reload this back in. And then it's going to tell me to go, and it's going to go check and make sure that we have the scoring wheel in there. And it should go and make that score line for me right at the 5-inch mark. And now it's going to blink at me and tell me there's a change, so it wants me to load the foil blade. So I'm going to swap these out, put the foil back in. Okay, so now it's telling me there's a change by looking at the flashing button. It is telling me to remove the silver foil and load my fine tip blade. So I'm going to reach over here and remove this foil. Look at that. And that was actually pretty good placement. If you look at where his foot starts and also where the exclamation marks are, that was good placement. So use those grid lines to your advantage. Okay, so swap out our blade here. This clamp for me is always hard. And reach in here, drop that guy there. And now it's just going to cut out the shape of the card in that little window. All right, unload. And flip this over, take this guy off. And there it is. Very cute. So we'll give it a little fold here, right on that score line. And then we take our insert, and it's going to go right in here. So, and look how cute that is. So when you open it up, that'll be right there. Happy birthday. Quick, simple, but beautiful card with a little bit of shine to it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, and I will be here to answer whatever questions you may have. Thanks.